Of Ships and Sailing, South River, New Jersey. This 1882 painting by Edward Lang is a view of Ambrose Clauser's hotel located at the end of Clauser's Lane. It shows the riverfront of that era with a shipment of bricks being loaded on the sailing ship at the right. The horse-drawn cart is likely from Willett's brickyard. Rail tracks to accommodate such carts ran past the hotel so that bricks could be transported to the river for shipping on boats bound for New York and other ports. Although this postcard was mailed in 1906, the date on the photograph is 1892, 10 years after Lang did his painting of the waterfront. This view is of the same scene, but from the opposite direction. The white building in the center of the image is Ambrose Clauser's hotel. The X that was added to the image by the sender, CCS, marks the location of the dock mentioned in the note. These three 1906-era real photo postcards show a variety of sailboats on the South River. They would have been a common sight in the 1800s and into the early 1900s. South River's history as a shipping and transportation port dates at least as far back as 1734, when Arthur Brown carried goods and passengers between South River and New York, and Samuel Rogers provided transport from South River to Bordentown, and from there by boat to Philadelphia. In 1903, the buildings at the foot of Main Street were removed to make way for a public dock. The vessel in the forefront of this image taken near the dock is a barge carrying locally produced bricks. From about 1825 to 1855, peaches were one of the common items shipped from South River. Sloops, schooners, and later steamboats transported peach crops to New York. In 1843, the large steamboat that ran every night carried 4,000 baskets of peaches on each trip. Schooners, barges, and sloops like the one shown here were all used to transport bricks to market. The name Johnson is just visible on the bow of the boat in this image from the early 1900s. Things didn't always go smoothly with shipping operations. A March 9, 1895 newspaper article described a week where ice and wind caused trouble for several South River vessels. The schooner Adeline B. sank on its way from South Amboy. The schooner Nicholas Borum lost her topmast and sustained other damage. The schooner Buena Vista became disabled and had to be towed. Several barges loaded with bricks were unable to be towed out of the river for several days because of low tide. 11 years later, Van Dyke Reed captured this image of another barge caught on a sandbar. This postcard view of the Borum Brothers Shipyard at the bend in Reed Street is postmarked February 1906. The man in the image is standing on the frozen river. The smokestack and buildings at the right belong to the South River Brick Company. Borum Shipyard was established around 1824 when Jonathan Borum began building sloops and schooners. The family-owned business continued into the early decades of the 20th century. The C.H. Delamater was a schooner owned by Daniel Slover. Van Dyke Reed took this photograph in September 1900 while the sailboat was on the railway at the Borum Brothers Shipyard. When in service, the vessel carried cargoes such as coal for local delivery. When a crew member fell overboard and was rescued in December 1901, the schooner was waiting to be loaded with coal for delivery to Theodore Willett. Kirkbride's 1850-51 New Jersey Business Directory had two entries for shipbuilders in what was then called Washington South River. N and T Borum were listed along with Samuel Peterson and builders in New Brunswick and Perth Amboy. Although only Nicholas Borum was listed as a South River shipbuilder 15 years later, when the 1866 New Jersey State Business Directory was printed, William Parkinson appeared in a separate list as a South River boat builder. The Anna May was a motor launch built in South River and owned by Gustav Bartz. It was 33 feet long with an 8-foot beam and had a maximum speed of 10 miles per hour. In 1912 and again in 1914, the boat sank while at dock at South River. Each time it was raised and repaired. The 1914 incident occurred while the boat was in a small slip near the Borum Brothers dry dock. A raft in the dry dock was the cause of the sinking. The yacht Inez May was owned by Asher W. Bissett. It was decorated for the aquatic carnival held on the Raritan River in New Brunswick on August 21, 1895. Entered on behalf of the Columbia Yacht Club of South River, the yacht won first prize in the non-member portion of the competition. The design included more than 350 Japanese lanterns in various colors and sizes, strung on wires and arranged in the shape of the mainsail and jib. At the top of the mast was a revolving tower, on each end of which was a miniature version of the vessel. Sloops, schooners, barges, and pleasure boats were once common sights on the South River. The schooner Extra was photographed in full sail on September 26, 1895, as it traveled up the river. The vessel carried cargo such as coal and bricks to and from a variety of South River businesses. The steamer Amanda, captained by Alvy Peterson, left South River on an excursion to North Beach, a popular resort near New York, on August 26, 1902. The trip was sponsored by the Marine Pleasure Club of South River. Passenger travel by steamboat from South River dates to at least 1824, when the Citizens Steamboat Line established a route from New York in the steamboat Etna to South River. From South River, a coach continued to Bordentown, and from there a second steamboat traveled to Philadelphia. The line was displaced by the railroad in the 1830s. Excursions by boat from South River were a common summer pastime at least as far back as the early 1800s. The ill-fated trip to Sandy Hook that led to the death of Jane Frazee and inspired John Frazee to sculpt the urn located in the graveyard behind the museum took place in August 1832. In the early 1910s, the Anna May was used for summer excursions for family members, friends, and groups such as Sunday school classes.